When I was younger, my grandpa and I would watch those medical mystery TV shows. You know, the ones with the six-legged cows and the skinless babies that still manage to live. Weird allergies, genetic mutations, and even the somewhat comical, well, the doctor made a really big oops and left the medical equipment inside of you, and you've been living with it for 5+ years stories. They were educational and gross at the same time. Something that I fed off of as a young teen. Grandpa would always joke around that he should be on one of those shows. I knew he wasn't serious. He hated drawing attention to his issue. I would occupy myself with what they would title an episode of his and always came back to the blunt, retro movie title of The Man with Two Voices. Ever since many of my family can remember, Grandpa had two voices. The only way for me to describe it is to compare it to having phlegm in your throat when you're sick, and how it sometimes creates a split in your voice. There's your normal speaking voice that you can hear just fine, but underneath it is like a deeper, growly echo. Then it'll be gone when you clear your throat. My grandpa is like that all the time, but his second voice is just as loud as his normal voice. I remember him telling me stories when he was younger, and his mother pulling her hair out over the whole ordeal. Took him to a doctor that stuck scopes and lights down his throat. Nothing. Primitive x-rays on his neck. Nothing. I used to ask Grandpa why he didn't go back to the doctor after that, especially now with all the new things they have in the hospitals that he didn't have growing up. It was always the same answer. They can't tell me nothing new. We gave his second voice a name. Ed. My grandpa's name was Albert, usually Al, so it sounded like a TV show, Ed and Al, Al and Ed. When my grandpa died, it was tragic. Despite his vocal abnormality, he had tons of friends and people that loved him. Or, my skeptical mother would say, people that liked his circus act. Her skepticism that Grandpa was using some sort of parlor trick was quickly debunked at his autopsy. Grandpa should have gone back to the doctor, we learned. An ultrasound would have indicated that his beer gut wasn't actually beer. And his second voice was literally a second voice. The small, curled up body of his unknown twin was unearthed from his belly, connected to his esophagus below his collarbone. His childhood doctor did not detect it. It was made clear then that the hollow tube connecting the mouth of Grandpa's twin to his esophagus was the source of Grandpa's second voice. A voice that kept talking past Grandpa's death, according to the autopsist. Ed was still alive some days after that.